My name's Tom Pappas, and I am the owner of Broken Veteran 3D Designs, where we are making low-cost adaptations for disabled veterans. And that's not working properly. Perfect. So what we're doing, oh well, first a little bit of background on me. I was in the Army in 0809. I was the guy overseas that just had to fix everything with nothing. If it was broke, we needed it for mission, and it had to happen. So with that, um, naturally in Afghanistan, it was absolutely no different. I was just always the person who had to make it work. Uh, so what is the problem? The problem is that entirely too many of our amputees are abandoning their prosthetics. And the reason for that is listed here on the left. They're uncomfortable, they're hard to operate, they're difficult to purchase. In the process of this, spent about 45 minutes on the phone with a company trying to find the price of that clamp. And it came to the conclusion that I needed 3 doctor's appointments and never actually got the answer to my question. The facts. More than 30% of amputees abandon them. They all have depression, they have PTSD. Amputee veterans are no different. They're more at risk for committing suicide. And in fiscal year 23, the VA contracted out 600 different vendors uh, to to get devices shipped. So if you saw that, this is a quick integration. This is our invention. I have 3 different attachment points with me. I have fingers, it makes it a little easier for me, where I can lock into this device. This gives amputees the ability to brush your teeth. If you've been using your right hand for 20 years and then it gets deleted, you're probably still going to want to use your right hand. It's what you've known the whole time. So with Redeemed Solutions, we have activity-based adaptations. We are not creating prosthetics. Instead, we are just giving you ways to easier interact with the things that you need on a regular basis. Um, the way we're doing that is with SLS 3D printers. I already have a 3D printing company, but the SLS 3D printers use lasers, and that laser creates a product that's actually strong in every direction. Traditional 3D printing has layer lines, and that causes things to be able to break. The SLS 3D printing process also allows you to reclaim up 70% of the material, and that's huge. If you can reclaim 70% of a house when you build it, you're going to be making a lot of money. It also is going to keep plastic out of the landfills. This thing is really not cooperating. So what's the market? We have about 200,000 amputee veterans in the country. The VA saw just under 100,000 of them in 2019. That statistic never incorporates how many people abandon their devices. Because if they're not going to the VA, they're not going to come up on the blotter. In 22, the VA invested 4.9 billion in prosthetics. That's a lot of money. If we go a little bit wider on that, the United States has 185,000 additional amputees every year. That is larger than the veteran population, but that's not on our uh, it's not on our radar for now. We want to address the veteran population and then expand from there. The market growth for prosthetics is 5.1% up to 2030, and that's not a small number. On the right-hand side, you'll see TPU. It's a thermoplastic elastomer, which is skin safe and soft to the touch. Think of the bottom of a shoe. That's generally what TPU is. It is completely flexible. The video on the right is actually the process of SLS printing. That is them actually reclaiming the parts. So the other advantages, there's no molds to store. We're using digital 3D scanning. And with that, we scan either off of the actual person live with our 3D scanner, or I ship out a mold kit. They put their hand in it, it comes back to us. We don't have to store those. Most of your injection molded devices, somebody has to have a mold, generally stored in China. If you need to change anything about it, it's a long and lengthy process. Again, sustainable practices, we're reclaiming a lot of our product. We're keeping a lot of plastic out of the landfill. And through operational integration, we are already a 3D printing company. If we wanted to go buy CNC machines, well, then I have to have a CNC operator. I have to pay 100,000 for the machine, and it's not the same process. Tool pathing is used for subtractive manufacturing. Since we're additive, my models port right into this system, and we're ready to roll. Material versatility. The powders are open source, so we never have to worry about supply chain issues. They're all open source, all these elastomers. So anybody, if one company shuts down, another company is starting. And these product, like the materials currently are expanding rapidly. For what we're using on our hard parts will be carbon fiber nylon, which is 80,000 psi strong in each direction. That's it. Thank you. And 3D printing has a massive growth rate of 23% over the next few years until 2030. We are tailoring solutions. These are custom solutions. We do have universal options, but the custom devices are really what's going to help us shine. So, what's the value? Our business model costs less than one singular veteran's lifetime cost of equipment, and that's absolutely astonishing. Efficient production. This is actually the exact system that we will be utilizing, and it's it's small. It's a small footprint. That's 4 foot deep, 11 foot wide. Will fit in the garage. We don't have overhead of a building. We won't need one for quite some time until we double our production. Ever expanding product catalog. Every time I make one of these, which I actually made a one for the microphone, we tried. I made a universal one for a microphone. I printed it last night in my hotel room. I took some diameters of a microphone I definitely didn't see laying around, and I created it. So what that means is, hey, it's not theft, it's strategically allocating it to a different area. The inventory guy knows that. Um, as soon as I'm done with that, it's available. It's on my website, it's able to be purchased. So I can make a product in a parking lot with a laptop or an iPad, and I see you. It's instantly available to all of my existing customers. Meet CJ. CJ and I were in Iraq together on the 23rd of May. He was hit with an IED. We were hit with an IED, and he lost the 4 fingers on his right hand. Despite that, he is the first partial amputee to get his pro card in bodybuilding in 2016. The VA tried a lot of times. You'll see a quote from him on the bottom. They just didn't get it right. He could get prosthetics that did a lot of things kind of okay, but nothing that just did what he wanted. So it resulted in a lot of just kind of winging it, grabbing stuff from Walmart and figuring it out. So what's the process? I already touched on it, but I'm nervous, so I'm like talking all over the place. We send you a casting kit. We take that, we model it, we make it custom to you. That actually is the brace that I am wearing right now. Um, that is this. It is exactly fit to me. We give you the attachments you want and we ship it out the door. And the last part to me is the most important. We're going to save lives. Endless possibilities. Again, you've seen all of these as I demonstrated them. I was supposed to wait until this slide to do that, but again, a little nervous. So these are the things that we're working on. The pricing strategy for the starter kit is about $1,255. And that's going to have 3 custom activities that you can select, and then 3 universals, like universal circles, like what is on the Surefire. I'm not gonna mess with that. And it's ever expanding. But again, like I said, these customers are going to be return customers multiple times. So there's a pricing plan to get additionals. The other cool part that we're working on is the community is helping us choose what we're making. There's nobody else in the market that's doing that. I can pool my amputees and figure out what they want. And from there I can adapt it to the catalog. Cost-effective solutions. Since we're reclaiming so much powder, we get to save so much money and pass it down to the customer. Projections. In year one, purchasing the SLS printer, that's what we need, 55,000. We have everything else we need other than that printer. That is the only thing we need. Year two, once I go above 60% of full-time rate, we're going to hire a designer so I can simply focus on expanding the product catalogs and an additional scanner for that designer so that I still have the ability to scan on the go. Year three, we buy the printer expansion at 28,000, which is half of the price of the original investment, doubles our production because it is just one additional print head. And we hire one additional administrative employee because I already spin too many plates. Can't do anymore. Why Broken Veteran 3D? I have 17 years service between the United States Army and federal law enforcement. I'm working on a double MBA right now at Tiffin University for Leadership and Change and Human Resources Management. Those are a few of the PTSD programs I'm part of. And Collier, my buddy that got hurt, is Collier Elite Coaching. He has a massive platform, also like trains Paralympic individuals. Broken Veteran 3D. Join us. Let's change the world.
Hey, so have you reached out to, or are you familiar with the Wounded Warrior Foundation?
Yeah,
Have you reached out to them?
I haven't reached out to them yet. I invented this in the last 7 weeks. Been a little busy. So I actually haven't had the opportunity to. Collier was at the Walter Reed and with Wounded Warrior for about 17 months. So it will be one of the first places I reach out to.
Okay, if you have any trouble, let me know.
I
Fantastic thing here. So, who's your competition? Who else is doing this kind of thing?
Nobody,
And
nobody, like quite literally nobody. That clamp that you saw in the picture, after 45 minutes and being told I needed 4 referrals, I realized I actually bought those in 2019 for $34 on Amazon, and they're selling the same thing, but I couldn't get a price. Nobody has a system that is able to be integrated as much as this is and custom tailored to each customer. Sit. Thank you. And also with service dog stuff, she belongs to Southeastern Guide Dogs, and I'm working on interactions for amputee blind to get into the harness for the dogs.
are you patenting this to protect it, or what's the
Yeah,
plan?
I'm working with the attorney to figure out exactly how we need to do it. Until I have the printer and I'm doing the FEA analysis on like the break points and weak points, I can't fully like patent it all the way through because I don't know where I'm gonna be at as far as an absolute end result product and like where its issues are gonna be.
Yeah, you can file a provisional, which will give you a year, and then
That's the
you're
plan.
protected at least for a little while.
Absolutely.
Are you familiar with like STTRs? STTR, it's like a program with like you basically partner government with research programs with like universities, and then you can like go forward and get
No,
like free funding, like dilutive funding.
no, that's the
Uh,
first I've heard.
I see that as maybe like an opportunity for that. On that note, in terms of government contracting, do you have any ideas on that in terms of another target? Because
So
obviously
with
they're doing it.
With the VA doing 600 different contractors, obviously that is on the radar. But with us not being a medical device, it's going to be interesting. We're going to have to see. I think we're better suited for physical therapists, occupational therapists, for the time being until we figure out exactly where we would fall into that. Because the VA's contracting is almost exclusively for the prosthetic, and since we're not making fingers and wrists, we're gonna have to pool our resources and figure the best avenue of approach for the VA. And well, I guess government contracting in general. My apologies.
And then just FYI, too, the VA has like an innovation arm now that you can work with. So I'll put you in contact.
Thank you.
Can you talk about your marketing strategy? Just
Yeah. So with my as much time as I had working for the VA, I have a lot of access to individuals that are very active in various groups. I support 4 different PTSD programs in the country. And those individuals have a direct pool to an immense amount of veterans. So for the time being, we're going to be doing it internally, but through our vast networking, like through all of our associate programs. And then when it comes to switching over to the entire country, we're gonna have to we're gonna have to get mentored and partnered through because that is a much larger base, and we're gonna need some assistance with that. But in the veteran-centric community, we have so many contacts over all of our shared experiences.
And then in terms of team as well, I think you told me that you were partnering with your friend. Obviously, is there any other?
Yes. So currently it's Corwin Collier because he is my buddy that got injured overseas. He's the driving motivation behind all of this, and he's the poster child. He was 2023 Men's Health Ultimate Guy. He wears a lot of different hats, and he has the best driving force in what we need to do for amputees because who's going to tell him that he's not right about what amputees need? I'm not.
Yeah, so one comment, I assume you're not using the term prosthetic to kind of avoid the all of the
Yeah, well, we're
pitfalls.
not. You
Right.
know, like, I mean, the complexities of a finger, to say that I didn't try would be a lie. But I quickly realized between the word medical device and the complexity, the VA is shelling out $30,000 for a device because it works. They have prosthetics handled.
Yeah, there's a
But,
lot of regulations when you use the
oh,
word
absolutely,
prosthetic,
right.
so
Yeah.
interesting approach.
And the liabilities with insurance and stuff, as soon as you say it is a medical device, it becomes expensive. And we are quite literally an anti-prosthetic. Yeah.